We're trying something new in 2014.
I know. Isn't that right, Ven?
Jesus Christ. Come here, Mr. Limmywanks. Coming up on Linux GameCast Weekly, someone tweaks the areola controller, Torque 3D becomes a thing, goodoldgame.com hates space, and Carmageddon, Reincarnation keeps us in suspension. Then we throw the chairs at Deadfall Adventures. All this, plus your hate mail. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. Joining me every week, the beast from the north, Master Sving. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, that's brilliant. And all the way across the pond, Mr. Matthias.
Unfortunately, it's not Amy Pond, but hey.
The things we would do to you if that were the case. Coming
With
up
a crowbar.
this week, we're going to see some video of someone fiddling with areola controllers. Torque 3D port, turns out that's a real thing. Good Old Games hates NASA, and Deadfall. Yeah, that's a thing. So, before we get started, what's been going on with everyone this week? I think we'll start with P-Man.
Yeah, not a lot's been going on around here. I spent most of the week running with rifles, and when I wasn't doing that, I was fixing the computers for just about every single one of my mom's colleagues, because Windows.
Mr. 4x3.
Yeah, speaking of Windows, I've been suffering through Skype's incessant bullshit, constantly crapping out the call midway through. That's fun. Oh, this is going to be an interesting episode for sure.
Indeed it is. And over here in LGC Actual, Mr. Mango offered to give us a free key for Metro Last Light.
Woo.
I accepted under one condition, that he come up with a contest. So,
Sounds
once we
reasonable.
get that worked out,
Come up with the most Metro contest to win.
it'll
chance
be a
to enter the
terribly
contest.
Metro contest, I assure
No,
you.
we'll have a contest to decide who gets the Metro copy.
Giggity. But that away a give should take place next week. Something to look forward to. But how about some whoring, J-Man?
Oh no, well, it's a new year. We decided to lose some weight, so we're gonna cut down on the whoring. Check out linuxgamecast.com/podcast for all your Linux Gamecast needs. We also have chat realm statically linked at linuxgamecast.com/discussions-2. Got a Facebook page, a YouTube page, youtube.com/linuxgamecast. And finally, you should definitely check out our second favorite Kiwi, Linux_gaming, where there's a bunch of ones and zeros. They're talking about Storm United, which I'm going to assume is some neo-Nazi thing.
Brilliant.
I don't know, but I hope that clears
A few
up.
changes with the podcast page. Right.
Actually, one final thing. Do you want your name on this train wreck?
No.
Well, you can get
Nope.
it if you donate money. No, no, we're not doing that.
Horrible idea.
Money.
Horrible.
Horrible idea. Well, I guess screw that. Check out. I
No,
don't know.
seriously.
We have Amazon affiliate links.
Yeah,
You
we
can
got the
donate
affiliate
buttons. Give
links.
us
But if you
money.
want to be a producer, it's kind of how it's going to roll down. Anybody who subscribes to the Trivity or a $10 a month, you're going to be in the producer credits for the show,
Yeah.
because you actually give a flying fuck about this train wreck. And, you get to see your name at the end of the show. How great is
It
that?
lights.
Yeah, we'll put lights on it. Trust me, I'll
And
shine
then,
a light
and,
while
and,
I'm
then,
doing
and then we'll use it to blackmail you, saying,
Brilliant
"That's
idea.
stupid."
That's how we'll get the rest of the money. But on top of that, if you want to become part of our Linux Gaming Master race, just a one-time donation, get your name on the board, but you have no chance of challenging the man, T. Brown, coming in at 200 wet stinky caches. This genius figured out the maths.
You know what? We welcome each contender, though. Come on, try and beat him. Do it.
Yeah.
That we do.
No, they possibly no. There's no way.
Wait, what were you calling the Linux Gaming Master Race? Das Herren Linux Gaming Herrenfuck.
That's base. Well, a little Jewy, but all right. You got a point.
Excuse me for not being a native German speaker.
So, since Jingle Gabe has gone away, we do have this dead horse that we like to drudge out, but he's back alive for 2014, fresh. He has been put in his Saiyan pod. Well,
yes. No, it's like the reanimator pod from Superman. And so he's back with a brand new haircut. It's our Steam
Linux
Update
of the week.
Yo, I heard you like DDoS, Sven.
Yo, man. Pear claims to have attacked Steam servers. And, this comes from Kotaku. But, Go ahead, P-Man. I was hearing this was a Lion attack.
Yeah, apparently a couple of hackers decided to DDoS Steam.
And then brag about it on Twitter, because that's the thing you do.
Apparently,
Blue on Cannon, that's pretty much hello, NSA.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah,
what is this, like Hello Kitty Island hacking adventure?
They took to Twitter to brag about using low orbit ion cannon for Windows to bring down the Steam servers. Now, at this point, I don't know whether to scowl at Valve for really, or scowl at the GUI kitties for actually managing to bring the Steam servers sort of down.
Well, hang on. Let's knock the ion cannon's cock out of our mouth and talk about, were you actually affected by it? Over here, I couldn't get into the forums or the store page through the Linux Steam client, J-Man.
I didn't have any issues, but I don't think I was on Steam when that was going on.
Yeah, I didn't really have any issues on my end. Everything was working fine.
Okay, so what do we got up next?
Well, Steam breaks 10.6 million concurrent users.
9,000.
You know, because PC gaming is dead. No one plays.
Yeah,
totally dead. Totally dead. Steam and game stats. So I guess those. Peak 7.64 Z384. Good news. Especially considering that Linux is 1% of that.
No.
Yep.
That's a pretty.
Yeah. So we got around 7,000-ish Linux users contributing to that, and this is 8% higher than their previous 6.9 million score.
Especially when you rewind it and you think about when Steam for Mac first came out, that was like meh. And,
yeah.
Well, it's still kind of meh because they all got their iPads and their lackady hairdos and their sparkly cowboy boots
and their Starbucks coffee.
Hipster. Sodaverse.
Sodaverse.
That's a thing. That's brilliant. Thanks, P-Man, for sharing that bit of information. But we get to play with Gabe's nipples with our areola controller, and it still needs tassels, if you ask me. But what we're looking at is a video, and I need to get that audio off so we don't get taken down with cockpocalypse. Brilliant.
Content ID.
Yeah. I know, right? No, what we're looking at, what are your thoughts? I looked at this, and it was like, it looks a bit rubbish, but I still really, really want one.
Yeah, it looks like a thumb exhaustion simulator, really. No, I mean, look at his hands just going like That's got to be really, really awkward. The guy in the comments was actually saying that it takes a while to get used to, but it looks like he's doing well enough with it. So
yeah, and I guess I have to agree with that random guy in the comments because from what I can tell, it takes some getting used to, and that dude still isn't quite there yet.
Listen, some things take getting used to. All right. I understand that. All right, period. But, it's no different than the first time I sat down with, the X-Clone controller. I was never a console gamer. And, yeah, we figured it out. But like I said, I'm buying one. Are you guys buying one?
Yes.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Kind of have to, with the being a Linux GameCast and all.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You saw through my clever question. But that link to that video will be in the show notes along with everything else. Let's reserve ourselves for this because it's going to be coming later, gentlemen. But Deadfall Adventures...
Uncharted, more like unfarted, am I right?
Deadfall Adventures Linux beta released. Hello! Known issues, loading indicator, whatnot, still takes mothering ever to load, just like Painkiller. Screw you if you're on Intel, basically. Anti-aliasing, not so much with the working, graphical corruptions, bits like that. And also, we're going to release the beta and take the next 4 days off.
Yep, we're just going to go away now.
Release a beta for, what was it, $40? But you know what? I think we'll get to that in the review segment.
We're probably going to get to that because we spent about 90 of our own wet, stinky caches to...
actually, more like 90 of your wet, stinky caches.
I just want to point out one thing about their announcement is that they say that the game is playable, but may stutter with AMD's Catalyst FGLRX drivers. No, dude.
Pedro, that's like saying, what about the good things Hitler did?
Well, he did.
Well, the Holocaust never happened, so.
If you believe the Jew, you're the super crazy, right?
I know.
Yep.
So tell me about this, J-Man. 3.1427.
Yeah, this is continue 987654321, and this is an interesting little game. It takes place in a computer game that has been exited, and you're trying to avoid garbage collection from the runtime.
So it's Tron with pixels.
Yeah,
Tron with what it. I can see where you would get upset about the hipster pixel crap, but I think it does a pretty good job of just as an aesthetic choice. Also, the soundtrack is really, really good.
Yeah,
it's sort of like awesome. It's kind of like a weird hybrid of Zelda 2 and a few other things, like Zelda 2, the side-scrolling one. It's the controls are a bit weird, but
in all fairness, Zelda 2 was top-down and side-scrolling.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, just like this game.
Okay. Which apparently has no game. Oh, here we go. At 3 minutes in, we get some gameplay footage. Brilliant trailer, guys.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's an interesting concept. The soundtrack is really nice. It's not horribly expensive. I would probably wait until it's on sale for... I bought it for $8. You could probably get it on a sale for something like maybe
20% off right now. I got it during the holiday sales on the Humble store, which also happens to include a Steam keys, and I paid like $5 for it. So you're probably looking at that if you're waiting for a bigger sale to come along.
So, J-Man, would that be a recommendation?
I'd say check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I think that wraps it up. We gotta.
I know. I mean, it's like we just ran out of amputee midget horse porn, but yes.
I know. I was gonna say we should send the dead horse back to the gym so it can continue on its New Year's resolution
and pop us up again.
Oh yeah. Week. But coming up next, we got non-Steam related news for your face.
Organs.
And now that we're odor-free, let's get into some regular news. And starting us off this week, speaking of free, we have the Free Gamer once again. Torque 3D seems to finally get a Linux port.
We've been talking about this for ages.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Where's our $5,000, guys? Come on.
Yeah, apparently Torque 3D is coming for Linux. It's now confirmed, but you guys seem to share some of my concerns with regard to this particular engine.
Well, I mean, here's reality. They did a Kickstarter, I mean, the guys from Torque, I mean, this wasn't like a separate project. They're like, if you give us a couple of $1,000, we'll make it available for... Actually, they got around to saying, we'll clean our source code up enough to where you compile it. And pretty much the entire Linux gaming community went, nope. And basically one guy went, put on the shades, let his smoke up and said, fuck this, let's do it. And that's what we have right now. I mean, this is like a one-man army. And, you know,
Seven Nation one-man army?
Yeah. And so screw that 10 grand. This guy's got it up and working. Now, we did talk about Revenge of the Cats Ethernet. Now, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I don't think it's either, because Torque 3D's old. And then I thought, well, what about all the fabulous games, Vin, that have been ported with Torque 3D? Then I went, so, Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Really, I just want to see Tribes on Linux. That's all I care about in regards to this.
You know, Tribes had a Linux port.
It did, but I don't think it works anymore.
Oh, fuck, no, it doesn't.
No, so we were talking earlier about getting like Steam running on like some ancient version of Red Hat. So that would be more or less the exact opposite of that. Finding all the source code for all the old libraries and
Yeah.
Even then I'm still not sure that would work 100%. Pedro, you're kind of excited about some sort of scrapping.
Yes, the mysterious scrapping noise that we keep hearing, and I wanted to say that we don't see anything, but just to shut me up, they released the video this week, and apparently I wasn't the only one who got this email. Ven?
Yeah. Imagine a world.
Imagine a world where you donate money to a Kickstarter and then get nothing.
Now we're talking mid-2012, so about 1.1. I don't know how your human years work anymore, but it was quite some time back. And the guys from Carmageddon loved the game back in the DOS ages.
Yep.
And they're like, all right, we're doing a Kickstarter, kick us some wet stink. And I was like, boom, you got it. Gimme. So, gimme. Coming up on 2 years later, and... we get a suspension test. Yes.
Yeah,
look at
that's
progress.
My first reaction. My first reaction when I first got the email was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Can't you see all the hard work that they're putting into this?
I mean,
they're really stretching their budget
to show you, because the one thing I really valued in the original Carmageddon was the fucking suspension. I mean, bam, right there. That's what I was focused on. Wait, no, it wasn't. Was it?
All the time.
All the time?
Consistently.
All day, every day.
So that was that update from that. I still, in predictions, if you want to go back and watch last week's episode, was it last week?
I think it was last week's.
Right.
Yeah, last week.
I predicted they're going to run out of money like they did the first time. So, before we see anything but sky's the limit, gentlemen.
Yeah, speaking of scrapping, skyscrapers.
Yeah, I figured you played something like this, J-Man.
Actually, no. I never actually played that game that it's based off of that I'm looking up now. Sim Tower. Yeah, no. I the one sim game I played a fuck ton was Sim Safari, and that was it.
I liked Theme Hospital back in the day. But yeah, this is a skyscraper simulator rehashed, because we really need a skyscraper simulator, apparently.
It's what is it? This is sort of like a open Morrowind type engine port where you still need the game files.
Yeah, it seems that way, because according to their GitHub page, you need to have the original SimTower exe file somewhere on your hard drive. So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing, but it's available on GitHub. I mean, if Anchi dies, I just thought I'd give it a mention, because, there's going to be some work, and a lot of projects like this start out, needing, extra files. What do you think of Dark Places? Right.
Yeah,
And stuff like that. And it'll eventually go standalone.
the dark mod.
Dark mod.
Dark mod.
Which is a total conversion.
Yeah.
But you know what? The dark total conversion doesn't really roll off the tongue all that well.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But did you know that NASA?
GOG hates NASA.
Yep, totally.
So friend of the show, Terry Welsh, otherwise known as Magumbo in Chat Realm, ex-NASA employee, and for some bizarre reason, super fan of ours, says on his Twitter
Go
account,
figure.
GOG doesn't want Retro Booster because it looks too niche. What kind of distributors are interested in niche games?
Porn.
Well, I guess there's Desura, Humble Store, Greenlight, sell it yourself.
That's kind of what I put in there. And I was like, come on, seriously, if you're going to get your game onto anybody, I could write tic-tac-toe and just sort of be like, sold, man, you're brilliant. We got it. We'll put it up there.
Yeah, we'll put it
Well,
up.
you know what? Anything as long as it doesn't cut into their Second Life profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing about good old games, man, fuck good old games. Seriously, in the
Yep.
ear with a chainsaw, because they went through that whole suspension thing. It's like, oh, we're adding a new platform. It's Mac, and they don't even really know what the hell we are, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
P-Man, you had some thoughts?
Yeah, it's I put this here not just
Because
because
P-Man
I'm
was like,
some
oh,
way-
well, no, I mean, Terry, I love you, you know. I'll pay
Yeah,
P-Man to
it's,
suck you off
I'm
any
not
day of the
suddenly expecting GOG to start selling Linux games, because that's never going to happen. I just put this here to show the rest of the Linux community, at least the ones that watch us, that GOG.com should not get any of your money at this point. They deserve nothing.
You lose!
Nothing.
Good day, sir!
Well,
That's it. That's-
Here's an interesting thought experiment. Who do you hate more, Humble or GOG?
GOG. Because at least Humble still has some Linux games. And they're not being
Fair
assholes about it.
I don't know. I mean, GOG has some pretty cheap games, and GOG has a lot of good old games that run fairly well under Wine
And DOSBox.
Underwine.
and DOSBox and old games. I'm not talking about like fucking new shit that should get ports. I'm talking about old shit that will probably never get ported because developers are lazy and there's no money.
Well, I, for one,
but
just-
I'd say it's a kind of a toss up. They're both kind of assholes in their own special ways.
would just like to reiterate, good old games, hates NASA, hates the future of space development, and that's the end of the story. That's our link bait for
Yep.
that business, because that rounds out our news segment. But coming up next, we have lawn chairs, don't we, J-Man?
Oh yeah, we got lawn chairs aplenty that are going to be falling dead.
At a beta?
Dead! Dead!
Adventures.
Dead!
Indiana
Dead!
Jones
The
and
family's
Nope.
dead. Now we're back throwing chairs at Deadfall Adventures, a very silly game starring the progeny of Alan Quatermain, but not the Sean Connery one. Let's see how many of you get that
Unfortunately.
reference. This is from the Farm 51. It's using the ever modern Unreal Engine 3, and you can pick this up for $39.99 pounds, or 2 pieces of gold doubloons, whatever. So what this is a Twitch shooter, sort of action adventure. It's Painkiller with jungles and puzzles, but not really
Pretty much.
puzzles and pseudo jungles and deserts and whatnot. So now that rambly piece of garbage is out of the way, let's go into our chair explanation, our crazy ass review system done with lawn chairs. 1 chair means that it's shit. 2 chairs means that it's kind of meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good, satisfactory. And 4 chairs means that it's super chocolate, awesomely fudge goodness. Blah. We also have our categories of doom, which is mixed with the working, which is, well, does it work? Shiny and sounds, which is graphics and, audio. Controls is self-explanatory, and fun is our final subjective category. Now, because this is in fact a beta release of Deadfall Adventures, all the categories more or less have a bit of mix with the working mixed in there. And really, this is not about whether this is a good game. This is whether you should give $40 to these clowns so that they can continue porting the game. So, Ven, does Deadfall Adventures make with the working?
I shake my gerbil tube of naughtiness at this game. Mainly because this thing goes down faster than John Barrowman at a Scott Bakula lookalike contest. If you don't know
How
what I'm
many of
talking
you
about.
get that reference?
Zing! All I can say for 32-bit users, because we did test this on our base system, get ready to take that shot. Ubuntu 1204 LTS, powered by NVIDIA 770 powered hardware, running the latest beta drivers. All I can say is run, fuckers, run. This thing nopes out for nope reason in Nopesville, because it took the nope train to fuck you. That's why. Now, on my 64-bit AMD, my little Steamboxy thingy, it ran using the 770. I've not managed the gusto to actually try to use the APU as what it's supposed to be used as. Still spike crashy. So, two chairs, meh, on my two systems. But with two more systems comes the J-Man.
Yeah, I didn't bother trying to get it working on the FGLRX-based APU system. But on my 64-bit Fedora 20 NVIDIA 670 system, well, it took... I had to restart the game 3 times to actually, get into the game. And of course,
just
there's
wanted to
always
make sure you were determined.
wonderful loading time, typical of the Unreal 3 engine, as it compiles all those shaders all day.
Only for
every
this
day.
series, because you got to remember the Dungeon Defenders. Not the same problem.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that is true. But yeah, Dungeon Defenders is, well, Dungeon Defenders. But yeah, man, this... And, I'll get into this a bit more in Shiny and Sounds, but on my 770, or not on my 770, on my 670 with 4 gigs of VRAM, this thing is choppy as balls. So I'm going to give this 2 chairs, because you can actually get into the game and play it, but that's a bit of a stretch. Pedro, did it make with the working on your calculator?
Well, on the calculator running Corora 19 32-bit, I tried with both FGLRX and with the open source drivers. With FGLRX, like I mentioned earlier, it crashes as soon as the menu even starts to render that stupid background. It just crashes. With the open source drivers, though, I managed to get in game after trying like 7 or 8 different times. The first time I managed to see the intro cutscene, I saw half of it, and then there's a loading screen, and as soon as the loading screen went away, it crashed. The farthest I got was probably to the entrance to the pyramid. I wasn't really at the entrance, I was a bit further back, but yeah, on my end, 1 chair. That's what it deserves.
All right, so looks like that's a 1 chair for Mix with the working. This is not a very good start for this little beta game. So, Shiny and Sounds. Then, were you wowed? Were your ear pussies pleasured and your eye pussies equally pleasured?
No. Not at all. What we're looking at is the Unreal 3 engine, and to be honest with each other, old engine is old. I mean, it has had numerous updates over the years, but it's antiquated, and it's really starting to show its age.
But speaking of old engines, I mean, there is that whole Source engine thing.
Yeah, but
yeah, the Source engine still works better, though.
It goes to show, you don't blame the tools. You blame the developers, which is we're getting into. Shiny and sounds. Sounds, they work. Yeah, all right, fine. Voice acting, shit. Animation rigging. The floppy, like, oh, hello. I'm doing this because, I'm talking about whatever, random hand flipping over. And the Nazis. They're not Nazis. Nazis. I mean, Mein Kampf.
Gesundheit.
Seriously, I mean, if you got people in brown shirts with red armbands and they have a dot, I think it's different in J-Man's case. And I'm like, oh, right, not Nazi. Gotcha. Especially set, during World War II. Yeah, not really buying that, so, fuck this game, 2 chairs.
Yeah, the voice acting is just god awful. Whoever they have playing Quatermain, I don't know. Oh fuck! You know who he is? You know who he is? He's the fucking one of the squad members from SWAT 4. I think that's who he is. Jesus fucking Christ! It just dawned on me. I could very well be wrong. So
it's better than Chatsu.
It's a Chaozu.
Yeah.
It's a Pokemon Vegeta. Okay, yeah. The visuals look all right for the Unreal 3 engine. Yeah, it shows its age, but it's no worse than Painkiller, Hell and Damnation.
It doesn't look better than Serious Sam.
No, Serious Sam looks a lot better than this in its shades of brown. This game goes for a similar thing. I would honestly, I'd throw my card into Serious Sam 3's boat. They also think they're funny with pointing out plot inconsistencies made me go, hey, that's my job. But yeah, the voice acting is atrocious. The graphics are meh. 2 chairs.
P-Man.
Yeah, you guys already raised all the points I kind of wanted to make. I just want to reiterate that this game is basically Painkiller with a different texture. Coat of paint. It's got different textures. Instead of the hellish theme, you get Egypt, because that's original. 2 chairs.
It's still a hellish theme, though.
Yeah.
Oh, political humor. Ha ha ha. So that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Coming up is Controls. Ven, how do you like that middle mouse button?
Well, I'd give that. Oh, wait, what's it? Dolby? All right, surround sound. All right, we're doing that. It's fine with the controls. All right, actually, mouth. Brilliant. How would that work? Mouth smoothing. Not so much here tonight.
Mouth control.
Mouth smoothing worked on my end because I had to enable it because it was all herky-jerky with wireless gerbil. I cut that on. All right, it's moving around. It's playable. Then it was like, oh, you need to press middle mouse button to access it. And I hit that, and that Skyrim cross thing opened up that you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, fuck me in spades. Yeah, console game. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I was like, all right. And I immediately knew. And I was like, these keyboard controls are going to be all over the fuck mothering place, aren't they? Check the controls. I was like, yes, they are. Brilliant.
Oh, what? You need to hold down the N button?
Yeah, you want to check your notes. Yeah, don't hit N. Hold down middle and try to futz with it to get it over there to do. No. Bollocks to that. Outside of that, with mouse smoothing enabled, it did function for what it's supposed to do. I mean, it's really hard to cock up the Unreal Engine 3 movements. So, fine, 2 chairs.
Yeah, mouse sensitivity for me was like way too fucking low. I had to move my mouse off the desk and back, off the desk and back, off the desk and back.
Did you want to get high?
So I just turned up the hardware sensitivity on my mouse, and that more or less fixed the issue. But yeah, seriously, fuck that middle mouse button. What the hell? Who thought that was a good idea? Who on the development team said, yeah, let's make you hold down middle mouse button?
Probably somebody who was making the Xbox 360 port.
Yeah, they can go fucking die. 2 chairs.
As is tradition.
Yeah, Jordan, the reason your mouse sensitivity was way too fucking low was because you had mouse smoothing on. And
I honestly didn't care enough at this point
Yeah.
to concern with the settings.
yeah, that's the first
FYI.
thing I do because I'm
Like when
used
they
to
pull out the
mouse
second
smoothing.
dildo, you're just like, all right, fine.
Yeah,
right,
mouse
all right.
smoothing
Get
just
the
cocks
better.
everything up. At least on my end, that's been my experience. And this game, as soon as I managed to get in game and try to turn, I'm like, dude, move. Oh, mouse smoothing. All right. Disable that. Oh, well, that's a lot better. Sort of. I can't aim properly because even if I so much as breathe on the mouse, the guy will do a 180. So,
Giggity.
yeah, for controls, for me, 1 chair.
All right, well, that's 1 chair on controls. Now for the fun part.
Yay!
Get it?
Right.
Well, Ben, did you have fun?
Something that we're not having over here in LJC land, completely unplayable on 32-bit, and spite crashy on my 64-bit system. Now, here's the thing. I could excuse most of, this is a beta, like we said, and we're really dealing with whether or not you should spend the $39.99 wet, stinky caches to do this. But as soon as you get in that price range, son, you're in Metro Last Light territory. And you know what?
Yep.
That's a custom fucking engine, and it fucking works under Linux swimmingly. Is very good, comrade. We spoke about it many time. So, at the end of the day, take a shot. It's really hard to have fun knowing that we spent 90 wet stinky of your caches from donations for currently in its current state. Now, maybe the game might get fun. They might add a, I don't know, a fun pack to it or something, or a fun mod. Or
Fun button.
Yeah, a muffin
Oh,
button.
no, they'll add some points. They'll add some
Muffin
fun buttons.
button. That would be brilliant. If they added that, but in its current state right now, I would save that because it's incredibly hard thinking that I paid 40 quid for this and trying to have a good time with it, noping out, especially in the middle of a cutscene, which there's no autosave. So you got to start all the way back here and do this, steer the game with your cock. Guys, the only way to do it, and hope it doesn't nope out again, which it normally will do 9 times out of 13. I'm giving this 1 chair.
This game is boring. That's like gameplay issues aside, voice acting aside, all this shit. That's boring. The puzzles are like overly simplistic. The gameplay is like Pedro said. It's Serious Sam. If I want to play Serious Sam, oh, what's that? I could just play that. But for $40, this is not worth the money. They may improve it, they may not. But I think really the core concept of this game is that it's trying to be like Uncharted. They have the main character descended from a famous adventurer. They have this quote unquote sexy female sidekick and the bumbling old guy, just like Uncharted. And this just abjectly fails to be entertaining in the least. I wouldn't even pay like $10 for this game, to be perfectly honest.
Would
Maybe
you
if it were on
trade a
sale.
redheaded stepchild for it?
I would possibly trade a redheaded stepchild. Except, you know what? You can make a redheaded stepchild work. But
Yeah.
1 chair.
And just to bring up something that Chat Realm said, actually was Terry. Don't the devs just send, game keys to you? Yeah, they usually do. And I sent them an email asking for keys so we could review the game. You want to know what I heard back from them? Diddly fucking squat. So, yeah, we had to pay. Well, we basically used your donation money for it, so yeah. But
So,
yeah,
so realistically, you had to pay for this.
yeah. But yeah, it's Van and Jordan already said everything there was to be said.
Look at it
about
this way:
game.
we can gift it.
All I'll add is that how do you make a game about some Indiana Jones wannabe and have it come out worse than the refrigerator scene?
Oh,
That's a whole new level of bad. And at first, I didn't really understand why the game scored like 55 on Metacritic. Now I do.
Pedro,
I really do.
you're projecting harder than a PowerPoint presentation.
You cocked that one up. One chair.
so that's one chair for fun. One thing I forgot to mention though, Ven did bring up the Nazis with the Dotzis. I actually had Dotzis instead of a swastika. There was just like an X on their arm.
Dotzis sound fucking huggable.
Dotzis, and these are Nazis. Notsi.
Come on, Chatroom. Would you not buy Dotsi plush Vin and
with Stasi fucking attachments? All right, so that's one chair for fun. Fucking one chair game total. This game is garbage. Our final recommendations: should you buy this game? Don't fucking do it. Run away. Opposite direction.
Hell no.
Throw your computer out the window and light yourself on fire instead of playing this game.
I did not see that coming. Up next,
Heyo.
Hate mail.
Up next.
And now we're back. That time of the week where we read what you have sent us. But before we do that, I think it's worth mentioning that you should probably, just in case you're trying to promote your Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or even Steam Greenlight campaign, if you want us to cover it, make sure to include a link to your prototype or a working Linux demo, or even, the press preview for the game. We appreciate that. And if you don't, we're not going to mention it. Sound fair? All right,
Brilliant.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. This comes from Monster Cabinet, and I believe it's directed to the J-Man, and he asks...
Impossible.
Jordan, can you talk more about compatibility with your AMD Steambox and N810? Also, will you be upgrading to Kaveri?
Well, that's a very good question. My response is, go fuck yourself. I'm kidding. For the most part, I haven't run into any issues because I'm still in the land of supported hardware for FGLRX, unlike some people.
Hey,
but
as am I.
You know what? You can shut your mouth. There are a few problems I've run into. For the awesome just spike crashes, and the gamma for Amnesia Machine for Pigs doesn't work. But that's fine because whenever I play with people, they're a bunch of chicken shits. They're like, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm like, this isn't scary. The villain's weakness is chairs and corners.
As you cut the lights off, put the pig mask on, root around the ball.
Exactly. As for the second part of your question, Kaveri APUs, they do look really, really sexy. Unfortunately, as I found out when I did a bit of research into it.
Fuck all.
So the Kaveri APUs use FM2 Plus socket, which is incompatible with FM2 socket, which is what the motherboard I have has, because they add a couple extra pins. So unfortunately, unless I feel like overhauling the entire Steam box, I'm not going to be upgrading to Kaveri anytime soon.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Pause.
And up next, we have some inspirational material. Hey, Ven, just wanted to say thanks for inspiring me to start a Linux gaming YouTube channel.
Well, we've seen how that's worked out in the past, and let's be honest with ourselves, man. I was doing Let's Plays before Let's Plays were a thing, and I was doing it on the Linux.
Yes, Ven is the ultimate hipster. We've
dropping
established
mics,
And
No, I'm sorry. I got to drive off in my fixie right now. Fuck you all.
Yeah.
he's so fucking diverse.
So
But you know
diverse.
what? You know what? Good for you. Good on getting stuff out there. and
Yeah.
trying to do-
No, I mean,
That
there's
is
definitely
good.
some things
That is a
you
good-
want to. Oh, Jesus. Come on, Jesus.
It is kind of a good
Jesus.
thing. It's just-
Jesus, make me a taco.
it's got bad timing. There are literally tons of gaming channels popping up with each passing day. It's kind of bad timing.
Yeah, let
Paid-
the
paid-
guy
paid-
do- let the
wait,
guy
wait,
do
wait,
what he
hang on,
wants,
hang on.
man.
Pedro, Hitler wasn't the first. He was just the best.
Granted. Okay. Fair enough.
So, I mean, in that vein of spirit, boss, I mean, you really want to think about it. When you're doing a YouTube channel or show or something like we're doing here, which is just utter train wreck, but we're three psychopaths with a box that no one else would make us, so we did it ourselves. You got to stick with it. That's the biggest thing. I think P-Man remember that Liam is like, I'm going to start a YouTube video gaming. And I was like, good luck with that, because that's a lot of fucking hard work. I know.
But
and
you know
that
what?
lasted,
Like
what, 3 videos?
Yeah.
But you know what? Like Ven said, stick with it. Find a tool that works for you. If it's simple screen recorder or whatever, if it's just straight FFmpeg, whatever. If it's some custom hacked up box with the bizarre ass switching card in there and holes drilled into the back of the case, go for it. Just you know what? Stick if you're gonna do it, stick with it. You gotta have the
Yeah.
balls to stay involved with it.
Well, that's the whole thing. I
basically
mean, you might get a million positive comments, but there's like that one negative comment actually makes you want to fly to that person's house and sodomize them.
how many people want to kick some ass? But yeah, don't. The other thing is don't pay attention to the negative YouTube comments. Don't even read your YouTube comments. Unlike us, we're stupid. But
Speaking of YouTube comments,
so the Steam scene competition. This was in response
This
to
is
a story
all for
I
you,
covered
baby.
last week. He says, "Hey, Mike from Steam Scene here. Thanks for featuring our competition. Jordan was bang on with the aim of this being to generate a small community around SteamOS and to get some momentum with regards to seeing some third-party development happening. Some of it is a bit tongue-in-cheek. I guess our humor doesn't translate too well to the web. We're not expecting anyone to take a Dremel to their brand new Steam Machine prototype just to win a $100
Damn
gift
it, I
card.
just bought it.
One guy has added dual boot and BIOS support to SteamOS installer, which is pretty neat. Even had some of his fixes pulled in by Valve. I'm currently working on a terminal emulator for Big Picture and Steam in-game. Obviously not being entered into the compo, whatever that means. Another guy is trying to squeeze a bit more performance out of SteamOS with various kernel hackery. We've got some pretty interesting stuff going on. Someone kindly donated a prize, so unfortunately the Dota 2 beta invite is no longer up for grabs. Sorry to let you guys down."
yeah, the Dota 2 beta invite is already gone because the game is no longer in beta.
That's
Okay.
the joke.
No, I'm
Now that
calling
we've established
shenanigans on them completely because they promised something they couldn't deliver.
Yep. So what I'm curious about is, and I was kind of curious about this last week, but I didn't mention it,
I
so I'll
am
mention
not
it now.
making a Twitch live stream thingy for SteamOS.
Yeah, that's okay. So hacking the
you.
Linux base
All right, go ahead.
below SteamOS is actually okay. That's something every Linux user worthy of
You're
that name
modifying
does.
Debian.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But-
that's never been done before. Ubuntu.
Okay, so how likely is it that an overlay terminal will be included into the Steam client? Because you're dealing with proprietary shit at that point. You're going to have to, get Valve on board with that. And that led me to think that how likely are you to get banned from Steam and losing access to all your games the moment you start poking around at Valve's proprietary innards?
Easy
For
to
Steam.
answer, P-Man.
You're
Unless
not.
you're really futzing with the Steam runtime, none.
Yeah, exactly. Valve went into this knowing full well that people are going to fucking hack this thing because it's a Linux distribution. That's what people do.
Yeah. Like I said, hacking the Linux behind the client hacking the
And-
Linux behind a
No,
client.
no, no, no. If you sell any software with a Linux base, people are gonna fuck with it. Look at Android, look at TiVo, look at a billion other projects that I couldn't even think about naming because there are too many of them. There are
And I know that Valve's pretty lax, and they're actually pretty friendly and inclusive when it comes to people hacking their stuff. But
they've
actually
said
digging
it
into
themselves.
the-
They're trying to generate an open platform for PC gaming. You can't have an open platform and then start suing people. People are going to call them on their bullshit right away.
Yeah, but it's when you start digging around with someone's moneymaker, and Steam is Valve's moneymaker, it's like a printing machine. How likely are they to be comprehensive to someone actually going in and see how everything works and not be directly associated with Valve? It's
Pedro,
To be fair,
that's-
they'd probably hire them.
yeah.
Or let me channel my inner Lana and go, nope!
Lana,
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 Lana!
Lana!
Danger zone.
So, time to cue the music, and since we're not whoring ourselves out at the end of the day, that makes this the end of the day. Because I'm Vin Stone. You can find me cleverly disguised on the Twitterverse at Vin Stone, plus Vin Stone on the G Pluses, and my favorite, hey bro, the ultimate man, who needs a Stargate patchy thing on that shirt because it would look so much cooler.
Yes, I'm Colonel Jack O'Neill. You can find me at The Burning Fool or plus Jordan Swung on Twitter and Google Plus, respectively. And this guy, the overzealous Mexicant.
Okay, so apparently I'm Machete, and you can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Peter Mateus on Google Plus.
Now, let's just hold up our gerbil tubes that we all use, right?
Gerbil tubes?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
All right.